Hey, what's up, cats and kittens, and shout out to all my Cerebralites. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, back with another episode of The Daily Dose. And in today's episode, I want to talk about Jordan Edwards, a 15-year-old out of Balch Springs, Texas, which I believe is a suburb of Dallas, who was fatally shot by a police officer. The officer has subsequently been fired and arrested for the murder of Jordan. And before I touch on that particular subject, I want to say this really quick. Now, the reason I made this channel, even though I know I talk a lot about, television, entertainment, and pop culture, and, reality TV in particular, really the impetus for me starting this channel was just social activism, seeing what's going on in the world, and really wanting to have a voice and a platform to articulate my feelings about what's happening in the world around us. And about maybe 2 years ago, no, actually maybe about a year ago, I put up some videos. I was talking about a lot of stuff that was happening, like the shooting in Dallas, the police officer shooting in Dallas, Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, all that stuff that was happening. And I took the videos down, not because I wasn't convicted to what I was saying, but just because in the videos there was a lot of commentary from guys about a lot of sexual commentary from guys towards me. And so for that reason, I just took all personal videos down and started just doing sort of these voice videos where I get to talk, but my image is not there, so that's not a distraction to the message that I'm trying to deliver. And I think it's so important for us all to understand, whether black, white, gay, straight, lesbian, trans, woman, man, whatever ethnic origin, whatever gender identity, whatever sexual orientation, whatever subgroup you identify with. I think it's important for us all to remember that at the end of the day, there are two groups. There's right and there's wrong. And when we get distracted by focusing on the nuances of what makes us all different, whether it's, like I said before, our sexuality, our color, or what have you, I think that really we become part of the problem. And we do a grave disservice to one another by not realizing that the true enemy is wrong. It's wrong. Everyone has a right to live. Everyone has a right to be happy. Everyone has a right to exist in a space that they feel safe and they feel comfortable in. And we should all want to help provide that, regardless as to what our personal beliefs are. If you're a religious person and you have religious based or dogmatic beliefs that lend you to believe or lead you to believe that certain behaviors are wrong, I think that you're perfectly entitled to believe that. But we all have to stop infringing on the rights of others and learn to live cohesively in disharmony, if you will, in the fact that we all don't see eye to eye. And the reason I want to say that is because when you talk about cases like Jordan Edwards, this young man is 15 years old and already his life has been extinguished. And we've seen this happen over and over and over. Now, some people are excited because the officer has been arrested. There was an arrest warrant for murder issued for him, and people are excited about that. But my reaction is tepid at best. And the reason for that is because getting him arrested is only part of holding him accountable. That's a very small part of it, because we've seen countless people arrested and ultimately acquitted. When Trayvon Martin died, I was so convinced. Like, there was, the preponderance of evidence was so great, was so vast, that in my mind, George Zimmerman, this was really just sort of a technicality, something that we had to go through. But there was no way, shape, or form that this man was going to be acquitted for killing this child for no rhyme or reason, other than him being a black man and looking out of place. And not even a black man, a black boy, and looking out of place in the environment that he was in, or looking out of place to George Zimmerman. And when he was not convicted, I was just like, wow, there's no hope. There's no hope. I mean, I was really young when the whole Rodney King thing happened, and the LA riots and all that, the Watts riots, what have you. So while I do have some memory of that, not to the degree that I do when it comes to Trayvon Martin and to Tamir Rice and Sandra Bland and Omar Castile, which hasn't actually been tried yet. So we'll see what happens, what the outcome of that is. But we've seen Freddie Gray tried. Like I said, we've seen Trayvon Martin case tried. We've seen and so many of these officers don't even make it to being tried. They're no charges are ever brought because they're police officers and they're infallible in the eyes of the law, and they get to act with impunity. And so what makes me so angry and upset about this case is that Jordan Edwards was a 15-year-old boy doing what 15-year-old boys do, being mischievous and having a good time, not out to hurt or harm anyone. At a party, drinking, which he should not have been doing, but this is what kids do. This is what kids do. And because he was having a good time, and we don't even know if he was drinking. We know that there was drinking going on at the party, but I'm not going to even necessarily assign that particular infraction to him because we don't know if he was drinking or not. But we do know that there was underage drinking, and that's what led to the 911 call. But this happens in white neighborhoods throughout America. Throughout America, where you have these precocious teens who throw parties when their parents leave town. There's underage drinking, pool parties, underage sex, all sorts of things happening, but never does it end with police officers killing one of them. This only happens in black communities. We saw a case, I believe also out of Texas a few years ago, where there was a young lady at a pool party who was basically body slammed by a police officer. And here's my thing, right? If you're a police officer and you have a badge and you are not able to subdue or restrain a 15-year-old child, then perhaps you might want to become a Walmart greeter and turn in your badge. We expect teachers to deal with these kids, and they don't have guns. They don't have mace or tasers. The only thing that teachers are armed with is reason. That's all. That's really the only weapon they have in most cases. Is reason, is intelligence, is the ability to communicate. It's the capacity for humanity to communicate with kids in a way that gets them to calm down. Now, granted, there are going to always be the exceptions to the rule. There are going to be some kids who can't be reasoned with, and you're going to have to take a more forceful approach in some cases. But shooting a 15-year-old in a car that is leaving the scene, which is what happened in the case of Jordan Edwards, is inexcusable. It's inexcusable. There's nothing that anyone can possibly say. And once again, we have body cam footage, which is great. But even with body cam footage, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're guaranteed a conviction. A lot of times, for me, I feel like the arrest is really just sort of pomp and circumstance, where they're trying to do something to appease the public and say, well, look, we tried. But they know in their heart of hearts that this man is not going to be convicted. They know, and if he is convicted, it's probably going to be of a lesser charge. But he won't get what he rightfully has coming to him. This family has to suffer for in perpetuity, because this young man is gone forever. Forever, because of a bigoted, overzealous, hateful cop who didn't see a 15-year-old black young man's life as worthy of being respected. And I hope that situations like this really galvanize us, coalesce us in a way that we begin to understand that all that other stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who someone is sleeping with. It doesn't matter how someone else identifies. What matters is all of us are being killed. All of us are viewed as disposable. And here we are sort of with this inner fight within a fight, fighting each other when we should be laser focused on the true enemy, and that is systemic hate, systemic racism, systemic bigotry, systemic misogyny. You know, misogyny isn't just a woman's problem, it's a man's problem too. Because guess what? Your mother is a woman, your sister is a woman, your wife is a woman in some cases. Well, I guess in all cases, because the wife by nature of the title is a woman. But, you know, we always think that, you know, oh, that's their problem. No, their problem is your problem, and your problem is their problem. And until we begin to see things like that, the system is going to continue to evade accountability. It can't keep being black and white. It can't keep being gay and straight. It can't keep being woman versus man. It has to be right versus wrong. And in this case, you know, a lot of times, and this is what's, if there's anything that gives me an ounce of hope with this case about Jordan Edwards, right? Typically, every time we see a police officer kill a black man, the first thing that they do is they begin this whole character assassination. They pull up his criminal record. They talk about all of the infractions that he's done and try to somehow demonize and vilify him in the eyes of the public to make killing him justifiable. It doesn't matter what he's done. That's irrelevant. You know, you do the crime, you do the time. So if they have a criminal record, it is a record. Okay, record means past tense. It's been recorded. It happened and it's done. What we're dealing with is what happened in the moment, and that's the fact that you killed him. So whatever happened prior to that doesn't really have any bearing on my interpretation of the events that ultimately led to the demise of this person. So, but in the case of Jordan Edwards, he's 15. There is no criminal record to pull up. There is no way to vilify his character other than to say he was, quote unquote, a miscreant or a marauder. He's out there drinking. But kids do that. So to me, that's not really a way to assassinate his character. That's a child being a child. So they don't really have the ammunition in this case to go back and pull up a record to add insult to injury or insult to death. So they really don't have any recourse as far as that goes. So that's the one thing that gives me a modicum of hope that this officer will actually not just be tried but ultimately convicted. And I want to make sure too that we have a diverse jury. I'm so sick of having these all-white juries trying these police officers and these police officers walking away. And, you know, you see them walking out of the courthouses, embracing their families, and, you know, the families are having this sort of celebratory moment. But meanwhile, another black family is on the sideline left picking up the pieces. It's enough of that. It's enough of that. So that's really about it, you guys. I really just wanted to touch on this subject, you know, and I know a lot of people don't like the political videos, and people don't like when, you know, they don't like, you know, the Real Housewives. If I talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, people love it. But when you talk about a real issue, you'll see that the viewership isn't as substantial as it is when you're talking about sort of the superficial pop culture things. But that's not going to stop me from having a voice. It's not going to stop my opinion. But I just really wanted to get this off my chest, because this story has been, it happened Friday, I believe, that the arrest warrant was issued for the officer, whose name is Roy Oliver, by the way, if you wanted to know that. And I'm actually going to post a picture. You're probably looking at the picture now. So yeah, leave your comments below. I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this particular subject. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, please. Thank you. Please and thank you. What else do I want to say? Yeah, remember to follow me across all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I am Cerebral Diva on all social media platforms. So if you can spell, you can find me. None of that fancy stuff, no underscores and accent marks, what have you. Oh, and as always, in closing, remember to live better, love harder, and please think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.